So good morning. So many of you knew me as Comcast Cares. Today I work for Citibank. And as we know, the banking industry has a lot of challenges, but I'll actually say most major businesses have huge challenges that they don't recognize. I've said for years, I'm a simple customer service guy. It's really all I am. Yet in social media, I do a lot of different things and speak a lot about social media. And in my title, I right now reside in marketing. I'm Senior VP of Social Media. And as we look through these things, the trust factor is all about that customer experience. How much do you trust brands? Marketers like to think everybody loves their brand and is going to spread their message like wildfire. Bullshit. Not going to happen. There's some brands we do love. It comes into our heart. Now, today is actually a great example of human interaction, and this is where I think most customer experiences fail. What do we do in customer service? It's about handle time. Get them on, get them off. Don't talk to them. Don't have a human experience with them. We try and push them to the channel that's the cheapest, whether it's what they want or not. This is how brands work. Over the past few years, after I started Comcast Cares, a lot of companies started doing customer service and social media. I will tell you, 99.9% of them are failures. They are failures for very clear reasons. They're being run through their PR departments. They're being run through their marketing departments. That's not the problem. The problem is a few different things. First, they're not human in the way they interact. If you knew Comcast Cares, that was my handle. My team had their handle. Today I left. Bill is handling Comcast Cares, and so he is there on that handle. It is a personal human interaction. And if you were here the last time, I gave a story of why that came to be and why it was set up that way. It was not intentional. But the fact was, people actually started helping our customers on a day I couldn't work. And they did it because they found my name on the internet and found out that that was the same day as the anniversary of my daughter's death. And so then they started helping Comcast customers. Think about that. How much do you hate your cable company? Do you want to help their customers? But that's one issue. That's not the big issue. The big issue is, we're getting all this stuff going on in social media, and we're helping customers. All we're doing, we're helping them out. We see them talking. Companies reach out and say, oh, let me help you with that. All they're really doing is saying, shut up. Don't talk about my brand. We'll make you shut up by taking care of your issue. The dumb thing to that is they're really screwing up because they're not fixing the reason why the screw-up happened in the first place. They're not creating this feedback loop. And so ultimately what they're telling their customers, if you want something fixed, be as loud as you can about it. That's the only way to get it fixed. That's great. That will help your brand long term because now everybody's going to start talking in social media about it. What I'll tell you at Comcast, we were actually working on fixing the brand. Dell, who did it before we did, they were working on fixing the brand, fixing the cause of their issues. Now, both those companies will tell you right offhand, that challenge is not done. That is a long-term challenge. It's going to take them years. But they were working on that. Most companies are not. So that, to me, is the #1 failure within social media and customer support. Great place to do a lot of things, and it's a great place to humanize your brand, but you have to fix the underlying causes. The fact is, marketers for years have been telling consumers exactly, here's what you need to know about us. We're in a new world. The consumer's saying, enough already. Here's what I want. Here's what I need. Or here's my view of your brand. That's really what's going on. When we look at things like Occupy Wall Street, what are they saying? People make all these things, oh, they're talking about this, they want to get rid of money and all this other stuff. Bull, no, they don't. What they're really saying is, we do not trust our politicians. We do not trust our companies, our businesses. They're not serving us. That is really what they're saying. And companies have to learn to figure out, how do you embrace that? How do you become part of that problem? or part of that solution, I should say, which I'll also tell you, in my view, is a big challenge to businesses. No one's stepping up to really be that leader and say, okay, you have these issues. Let's work together. Maybe we can find solutions. No one's really saying that, and I think that's a fault of a number of aspects within our system. But customer service has been a failure for a long time. So this is not a new problem that social media has created. It's now given a point where people can vent about it. But customer service has been through an identity crisis ever since the first time they created a call center. They have not known what they're about. You know, if you walk into a Nordstrom's, they know what they're about. They're about serving your customer in front of them. Businesses over the years have gotten all into things about process. You know, they get into, I can turn anything into a process. Okay, make sure you give your customer a copy of that process document so they can actually follow that. Unfortunately, that's not how a customer thinks. Customers think very differently. They think what their needs are, not what you're going to sell them when you call and not fix their problem. So the customer experience in the next 20 years is going to be extraordinarily important for those companies that want to be successful. They're going to have to rethink their models of how to operate a call center. They have to rethink things of how they measure their agents. Today, why do we have so much outsourcing out there? Because everybody made it a process. And not only did they make it a process, they actually started to say, oh, we can just script this out and everything's this. Customer doesn't have the script. They don't know what to ask. I can guarantee you everybody in this room is frustrated by their customer experiences with all kinds of brands. Some brands you love, some brands you may hate. But the fact is, you're frustrated by it. The problem is, in many ways, has been the way customer service has interacted. They've taken that personal aspect out of it. They made it about, the process. They tried to send you to these automated means that get frustrating at times. And then when you do finally talk to someone, they're, shutting you down and not really getting into it. They're not empowered. If you get an outsourced call center agent, guess what? They're not going to be empowered to bring change to that company. So where do you get that power? You now get that power in social media because you took it. Customers took it. And, if you want to win in social media, it's taking all these pieces of that puzzle within your organization, bringing it together, and really starting to strive towards fixing those things. If you want your brand successful in social media, that customer experience has to be phenomenal. People give a lot of credit to Steve Jobs for Apple. I think Steve, the products that he's created, and the team has created were amazing. But that's not why I'm an Apple fanboy, and I admit to be. I'm an Apple fanboy because my customer experience when I had problems and I walked into that Apple store and had an appointment with the Genius Bar and said, here's my problem, and they fixed it fast, easily, and took care of me. And actually also during that, they were very personal. They actually knew about my experiences with them. It made for a really great experience. They knew the products I owned. They knew a lot about that. And then eventually I got to know the one store, and I really loved going in there just because of those personal interactions. That's the power within brands. If you want people to talk about your brand, that's what you need to do. So today I'll announce, although I announced it online, in April, I'll be coming out with a book called At Your Service. The at symbol, your service. And it's going to be a guide to help businesses understand these things. Because one of the things I've realized over the years is, unfortunately, your senior leadership in your companies do not understand their experience and the customer experience. They think it's great. Why? Because their leadership of their service departments are going, it's great, listen to these great calls, because we just took all this time to pick them out, and boom, there it is. The problem is, today you can put your CEO on Twitter and they can start searching what's going on with your brand, and they may get a different feel. And I've dealt with CEOs at Comcast. I dealt with CEOs, at a bank, prior to Advana, or a bank called Advana, which is out of business now, not my fault. But what I found was they thought their customer experience was one thing, but we shared a new story. No one's telling them the truth. And that's where the problem is. So my encouragement to you is you guys are the ones who can fix this. Don't expect your service departments to do it. Don't expect other areas to do it. Everyone in this room needs to be the one to guide that. That will bring success to your company in other aspects. My time is up, but I'm going to stick around. I hope we have a little bit of fun today. And I hope you enjoy it.